transformation has been stark. 200 years ago, slaves toiled on this land. But today, hope springs forth out of despair behind the walls of Angola prison in the form of redemption. Inside the walls of Angola are the sounds of renewal and inmates learning.
When they're not actually doing a job like what I just demonstrated on the truck, it's actually like a classroom setting. The automotive technology program that we have here is just like any vocational program and shop that you would have out on the street. We have our engine repair section, which is right here to my left, and we do everything from rebuilding engines to replacing engines to radiators, head jobs, time and chain jobs. It's kind of amazing to think about, I mean, here inside of a prison that is out in the middle of nowhere, that we have a shop that there's nothing that we can't do inside of this shop.
The teachers, known as mentors, are like Justin Singleton.
At the current moment, I'm serving life without parole here in the state of Louisiana for principal to second-degree murder.
Lifers who may never take a step outside of Angola for the rest of their natural lives.
This is a selfless move. It has to be. You know, when I see these men, and a lot of them don't realize that what they could be facing is so much greater than what they are facing, and I feel like it's almost I feel my duty to try to get them to see that their lives can mean so much more, and that there's so many people who need them to be better and to be different. And you know, this is something that I've shared, and I really feel this way that, you know, as success climbs in our state and in our country, we want crime to go down and success to go up, but it just hadn't happened. It seems like the more that success goes up, crime kind of follows. And we've tried everything. We've tried tougher sentencing, we've tried tougher laws, did harsher penalties, and it just hadn't worked. And I was thinking to myself, what if this is the poison and the antidote situation? The antidote only comes from whatever the poison is, and they take the poison, they mix it with a whole bunch of other stuff, and it becomes a cure. What if this program is that?
You know, we wanted these guys to come out with a skilled trade that would be with them the rest of their lives, and for those who are capable to start their own businesses. You know, so we wanted to make sure that it was the plumbing, it's electrical, it's carpentry, it's HVAC, it's heavy equipment, it's welding. We wanted those type of skills that those guys would be able to work as long as they want to work.
This is a program here where we have the opportunity to change lives. If we hadn't changed who they are, they would be out there committing more crimes, which would be creating more victims. So we've changed the lives of those potential victims who would have been, who now won't be. Every time we get one of these guys out of here successfully, it's like throwing that rock in the pond and just watching the ripples go out, and it's just countless how many lives we could possibly be changing.
Judge Arthur Hunter presides over Orleans Parish District Court, located in New Orleans' poorest parish. He knew something had to change in order to save the communities he'd spent his entire life fighting for.
It's a minimum 2-year program that they go in. Once they're released, they also placed on a 5-year probation with the courts, in which they have their own probation officer, and in which we monitor them as well during that 5-year period of time. So, you know, I tell employees, you know, we're the best human resource director you can have.
125 miles away in St. Tammany Parish, Public Defender John Lidner says very little has worked to solve the crisis of recidivism.
They get out of jail, let's say they've spent 2-3 years in prison, they get out, they have no job, they have no money, they have no place to live, they have no transportation. It's very easy to go right back to what they were doing before.
Lidner has watched generations filter in and out of jails. Grandparents, sons, and grandsons.
Well, it's like Bo Blackwell today. He was my client in private practice. When I first saw Bo, he was in court. He was so loaded he could hardly stand up. He probably weighed about 50 pounds less, and he was a very good cooker of meth. Now, 3 years out, you see him. He's a successful businessman. He's with his children every week. He's contributing to the community. As his mother said, and if I can remember the exact words, is that Thank you for sparing me the experience of having to bury my son. You know, and it's very moving.
The reentry program will not work unless the community and businesses buy in.
When we first started the program, employers were real reluctant to hire some of our graduates because they had drug addiction problems, they're got a felony conviction on them, but after time, they started coming here actually to Angola and seeing what we're doing inside of the shop.
We have yet to take an employer to the Louisiana State Penitentiary and take them through the program who did not come back and commit to hire. It is that powerful.
This didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to be solved overnight. If 95% are going to return, everybody understands, let's stop the cycle of recidivism, but you're not going to do that without supporting the folks that come out. We reach out to businesses on a consistent basis to ensure that these folks will have jobs. We reach out to certain substance abuse providers, housing providers.
Because we're dealing with third, fourth, fifth, sixth, even seventh offenders, we're dealing with guys who have shown repeatedly that they are going to recidivate, they're going to commit new crimes. And yet the statistics from the program thus far indicate that instead of that coin toss, we're at around 10%. That's a remarkable change.
The only way to make the criminal justice system do better is when you have an idea and find a way to make a change, because there's many things that I see every day that don't work. So if you have an idea, be brave enough and energized enough to try it.
This recidivism reduction program is a second chance for these men to get a job and be reunited with family members, to show that their lives have changed, and to prove that our mistakes don't have to define us.
What's your name? Ryan. Make me want to strive harder and be able to take care of, feed my family when I go home.
I mean, the feeling, me just telling my mother, I just got certified in brakes. I'm a technician in brakes, and I didn't know nothing about this on the street. And to tell her I'm about to get another certification, and I'm shooting for another one. All this feels good to me because I didn't have all this good stuff to tell her when I was out there. So this really means everything for me to change my life like this. They really don't have to do this, and they're taking the time out to help us change our lives. And they're not using it for no ulterior motive. It's just them, out the kindness of their heart, helping young people like me and Ezekiel change our lives.
Out of the ashes of broken lives come new beginnings. From the walls of Angola come changed men, broken but not beaten, ready to participate in the great human experience we call life.
That's what I think is really significant about this. It grew up out of the community. This wasn't one person, and this wasn't just some budget appropriation that the legislature threw in. It was judges working with prosecutors and working with public defenders and working with business owners and just kind of coalescing this entire community behind this one crazy idea.
All we ever see is bad news, especially when it comes to prisons. I want people to know that, not just in Angola, but at prisons across the country that I've been to and people I've talked to, there are good people in corrections who are trying to make positive differences and trying to reduce the rate of recidivism and trying to send people back and make our community safer.
My biggest hope is that we change society, and that society starts to see that men can make mistakes. But do they want to be remembered for their worst mistake the rest of their lives? Or would you rather be known for the things that you've tried to do after that mistake?